Yo, what's up? It's your boy Mythos, and today I have with me my good friend and former #1 Mad Maggie main, Saiyoji.
Yo, what's up? I'm Saiyoji. I have like 35,000 kills on Maggie, and I used to main her explicitly only, like nothing else.
And as an up-and-coming Mad Maggie main myself, I wanted to learn for the best and truly understand what makes this character so versatile. So, to begin, what aspect of Maggie drew your attention to her initially?
Honestly, there's so much that was so cool about her when she released, but what really got me the most is I wanted to that aggressive play. She is hyper aggressive if you're good with her, and it is so amazing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The amount of tools that she has to open fights. I think that she has great value in terms of aggressing on people and just really displacing them in fights. I feel like that's something that we can get into when we start talking about her abilities a little more. She's just a very, very strong legend when played properly. And were there any legends that you mained before playing Maggie? And if you did, were there any aspects of characters you played before that helped translate into developing your playstyle on Maggie?
Definitely would say so. I used to play Wraith and Horizon mostly, but I'm a fill player. I've always been a fill player. My team is my life, baby.
Feel that I'm pretty much filled the exact same role before I started playing Maggie as well.
But I think aspects that help was like I used to be IGL. I used to be like most of the time actually the anchor of the team as well. So understanding when like when to go in on a fight and when to go out of a fight is the biggest thing for Maggie. Aspects of their kit, for example, would be with the Wraith, right? When do you take the portal in, and when do you say, okay, we're just taking it back before it goes away, right? Like the in and out of the fight is big for Maggie. It's really, really important for her to use it.
Yeah, I definitely could see how Portal could kind of translate to the ball. It's just, the ball is essentially kind of a Wraith Portal adjacently, except, obviously it's not as safe as a Wraith Portal, but definitely could see how the whole concept of when to go in, when to go out can definitely apply with Wraith in particular. And I guess that could also go into with Horizon as well with her Q, because obviously you don't just want to blindly queue up on a team that's just going to laser you on the come up. You want to do some damage first so you can get up while they're like popping bat or something like that. So I definitely see how those translate over. And yeah, as the game progresses, we get some big changes, especially with this latest season. We got introduced to the legend upgrade system, which has taken every legend and elevated their kit in some way, with some of the stronger legends receiving less oppressive abilities, which helps with the balance of them overall, helps bring a little bit weaker legends, up to snuff with the rest of them. What are your thoughts on Maggie's upgrades, and do you think that she has any clear outliers on what path that you should take with them?
All right, so I think Maggie got a pretty damn good upgrade there on the abilities. It's like on the abilities because of the Evo Shield upgrade. What I think is really amazing, what is a must-have to be fair. As much as I wanna like the fireball, because fireball is cool, right? But the shots, the reloading on a knock is too good. Maggie reloading on a knock, let's say in an endgame scenario, can dish out 1,000,000 damage so quickly then. It is actually insane how good that is. On the second one, on the drill upgrade, it is less clear because it depends on what you're going for with the drills itself, right? What I think, I want to like the big drill more because it gives you a clear, bigger size and more reliability on penetration through objects. But at the same time, the two drills is just gonna win every single late game scenario over the big drill every single time.
I've definitely gravitated more towards using the double drill just because I think that it has more consistent applications. Being able to apply a drill to someone to push them out of cover and then being able to do the same thing when they run to the next set of cover, it's just extremely oppressive and allows you to open more opportunities in the fight. With how special Maggie Drill can be sometimes with its penetration of objects.
You
Yeah,
say it
just
lightly.
say it a little lightly. Maggie Drill definitely doesn't like to work all the time. There's some very questionable hitbox moments, but I do feel like the big drill could have some benefits on maps where the geometry is a little bit wider, such as Stormpoint or Olympus. because I feel like they have a lot more points of cover where the drill just doesn't quite reach through.
Yeah.
But I just can't really put that over having 2 drills.
Oh yeah.
I just feel like it's just way more powerful for me to be able to drive people out of cover twice. Depending on how fast people react, you normally can get like a cell of damage off, or like a half a cell of damage off on them, which obviously that puts you at a pretty decent advantage, especially if you're pushing up on the drill. And I guess you already kind of answered this question in regards to what you believe the optimal build is, which would be shots, and for double drill.
Yes.
In my recent perk guide, I also came to that conclusion. I was very, very well set on that build for Maggie. Fireball, whilst it's a cool concept, I just feel like it doesn't really do enough for me to warrant it, and it feels kind of counterintuitive. Because with Maggie Ball, you're going to be pushing with it most of the time. You're not going to be throwing it to just displace people.
Nice.
We can discuss that when we talk about her ultimate, but I just feel like having a fire explosion at the end, especially if you're using it as a tool to push and engage people, it just winds up griefing you more than it winds up griefing the enemy.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you agree with me on that one.
I mean,
I missed
I
every
have
shot
hit
right
myself with that fire on accident so many times, because sometimes when you go in, right, you want to have that really big push potential. So you're so fast that if you accidentally go into your own fire, it's just
Yeah.
damaging yourself sometimes more, and like making the playing field even again, even though she thrives on it not
God, that
being
charge
even.
time nearly killed me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that even
That's
just
kinda
slightly
insane.
walking into that thermite, being that it's 2 of them, you're looking at probably taking at least like 30, 40 damage, or at minimum.
Yeah.
And that's a lot in a fight. It's gonna swing it real quick. We'll go into her ultimate a little bit later. After the buffs that she received this season, we have seen a decent increase in her play rate. It hasn't been too noticeable yet. I feel like it will definitely shift once we see the Maggie challenges later, and people will realize how good she really is. Do you think that she was underutilized and is still underappreciated within the community?
Oh yeah, I mean, completely to begin with. She used to be like the underdog the whole time. She's never really picked up. I mean, some people might say it's due to her overall, like, the look of the character or the feel of the character, but there has always been let's
No,
say
for sure,
the
give
top
me your
dogs
wingman,
of
thank
that
you.
character that were always shining, like, brightly.
That master champ.
There
That's
was
my
always
fucking
people that were
wingman.
absolutely insane on the character, and they really showed you what the character can do. And like that she got this much from her new perk system is actually kind
Yeah,
of
this guy's
huge
just
for her.
horny.
People are right now still not realizing how good she actually is. Some people are still like actually have realized and have been playing her since.
I've actually been playing her a lot in ranked recently.
There's no
And
way you lost
she
that
wasn't a
teammate.
character I would normally pick up in ranked, but I've been using her and I've been having a lot of success, especially with having the double drills now. It just makes fights so
Honestly,
much
I'm not- I
easier.
can't do that.
People just can't heal. It gives you
Look at the
so
wingman, man.
much opportunity to push an open space against
wingman.
people. She's a really good character for ranked, and I know that she was before, but even now
Yeah,
she
I
just
mean, it
feels
wasn't that
so
good,
much
though.
better once you hit that
The
purple
reason
shield.
why it wasn't that good
Oh
was
yeah, and I can
I
believe
literally
that she
barrel stuff, and
overall
he
is
was
like
licking
has
on my wingman
improved
before.
so much just because
Like,
before there was
he should have had
scenarios
that
where
in his
there's
mouth.
like,
Of
let's
course I'm
say
not
2
gonna
to
miss.
3
Oh my
covers
God, what
over
the hell is
like
that?
in open space, and you were fighting an enemy there. You could only throw it on one and then maximum ball the second. They still had a perfect way to play the third and stop you from pushing, because you, as much as the ball is good, you have to push across an open area, which always leaves you open. So you should always be careful of getting shot in the meantime too, and losing a lot of the
Jeez.
HP that you need to go in and make the fight in your favor, right?
Yeah.
But I think now that she has 2 drills plus the overall shot reload, it's a huge, huge thing for her.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that the drills are probably the biggest upgrade to her
I
kit.
feel bad for that dude because he just opened
Whilst,
the
you
door.
know, the shotgun
He just
reload is insane,
instantly
just
got
the amount of
bopped.
utility the drill provides is quite good. Speaking of the drill, I think it's time we get into a little bit of her kit. She is the ultimate shotgun legend due to her passive being that, you know, it gives her unholstered movement speed when she has shotguns. Do you think that
that's
she's
okay,
a
that
character that
happens.
still excels when you're not playing
How many
towards
times
that
this happened to
passive?
me? It
I
does
think
happen a
she
lot.
can still be useful,
It's
but
just
not
new.
to the maximum capabilities. It is. I always say that if you have this part of your passive and you're not using it actively, then you're kind of disregarding it completely. It's
Appreciate you
as
for
if
stopping by. Thank you very
remember
much. I hope
when
you have a
Wraith
great day
passive
and
used to be
enjoy the
even
rest of your
more
games.
like even worse than it was now.
Yeah.
Basically, then you still played the character, but you didn't have
I
the
came
full
off,
usability
okay.
of everything.
Before she got her upgrades this season, I would say you were kind of griefing yourself a little bit by not using a shotgun, because as you said, you are throwing away a bit of a passive. But especially with her upgrades this season, you really are throwing by not using a shotgun, in my opinion. Because just having that reload, I've had a few clips that I've hit recently with a PK where I've just downed one person, I got 5 shots for the next guy, and then I downed that guy, I got another 5 shots for the third one. Like, it's just absolutely insane how powerful that one little perk is and how much it can just shift fights. Because there was moments in those fights where if I had to reload, I'm probably dying.
Oh,
But
very much so.
it's just, I definitely think it's really important that you use a shotgun on her, especially after her changes this season.
Oh yeah, the way I see it is you have to think of potential damage output, right? Let's say you have 5 PK shots at 115 each, which would be maximum. That's beside the point, right?
Really, really bad.
But then getting a kill anywhere in between the 5 shots and having that exact same full damage potential again is absolutely insane, and that without having a downtime to it too.
Yeah, it's just that it's crazy. I mean, you think on average, a PK shot is probably, to be a little more generous,
That's a lot.
it's hitting for about 80 a shot.
That's a lot of people.
Just negating that reload time and being able to pump out that damage again and again, it's a no-brainer. You definitely need to have a shotgun with her.
Yep.
With her riot drill, this is an ability I feel like people criminally misuse.
Bro.
How do you find it most effective to use?
That's the most effective is hard to say because it always depends on what you're shooting it at, right?
What?
Some objects can't be passed through in certain angles, so you always have to make sure that you know which object you're shooting it at. It becomes more experience thing than actually looking at it because sometimes the game is gonna tell you it's gonna go through, but it doesn't. So
Yeah, I've had that happen.
it's still a bit of a buggy thing to be real, but it's also a really hard thing to make right by the devs, to be fair. But as we said earlier, the best way to use it is to get someone out of cover. If they are currently in like a smaller cover and you have a sightline on it, then getting them out of that cover is just infinite. Like, it is so good for Maggie and her team because if all 3 of your team are currently looking at that cover, that person is going to lose at least 100 health just for trying to get away from you, if not die, of course.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't understand the way that the riot drill really can be used because the riot drill has really, really good synergy with her passive, actually. If you riot drill in a way that the enemy can't see you because it's a huge amount of visual clutter, right?
Yeah.
But you have either damage from your like from your drill itself, which procs the passive, so you can see them through it, or you actually had a shot on them before, because you can shoot while you're shooting it. Riot drill. So you can create a duo synergy basically of shooting them while they can't really see you, and they would have to blind fire while you know where they are, or can push up in the meantime too.
Yeah, that's something that I've actually found myself using a little bit subconsciously. I didn't even realize how I was just hard winning these fights. I would always shoot my drill on the door, people back off the door, and then I swing through.
Right now?
I might take a few ticks of my drill damage, but for the most part, people aren't going to be expecting me to swing into my drill.
I think I have to
And with me swinging into my drill, I'm not only covered by the visual clutter of the drill, but I can perfectly see them because I'm proccing my passive, which gives me wall hacks.
Or no, right?
And I did not realize what I was doing until I spoke with you and you mentioned the flashbang ability of her drill. And I was like, wow, I've been using this the entire time without even realizing it.
It's a thing that happens unconsciously. You notice when these times you can swing these people where they don't realize that you are there. But a quick tip, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but if you place the drill directly on the door,
noticed I
it
had a
takes longer to
fucking
break the
insane
door
clutch
than when
just
you
now.
place it next to the door. Next to the door
Bro, you
breaks
would
the
have
door within 1 to
screamed
2
and
seconds,
creamed both.
while if you place it on it, it takes 3 to 4.
That's actually good. I did not know that. I will have to take that into consideration when I'm trying to actually break doors on people. Most of the time I
Oh.
use it to do that flashbang push through, but I could see how it could be useful to just straight up break the
My boy,
door.
where did you
The
go?
thing is, the flashbang still works
GG's.
that way, so you can place it next to the door, but have a way quicker push because it breaks so quickly after it's after it's burning. The drill is AOE, right? So it's gonna still
Your
hit
fault,
the door
appreciate
and
you.
break the door quicker than it was before,
you.
and burns the same duration, so you can still jump through there. The only good thing about the door trick, when you place it on the door itself breaks the drill, so the drill disappears right after that, so you don't take extra damage. But sometimes that still helps you get through something quicker.
Small little things definitely are something that also interests me with Maggie's kits, because there's just little interactions like that that really can separate you from an average Maggie player. I feel like that's enough on the drill. I feel like we've covered a lot of aspects on how that could be used. I mean, that could be an entire video within itself. Moving on to my favorite aspect of Maggie, the Wrecking Ball. That is my favorite. How do you approach using this versatile ability?
For me, there's
Interesting game.
2.5 uses, I would say. This is very generalized, though.
Yeah.
The first one would be getting into a fight. But the reason why this is 1.5 is because it's also your escape, because there's a timer on the little pellets of movement speed that you drop. And that time is the time you have either to make a play or to see that, okay, this fight is not worth it, I'm gonna get back out. The second way, technically, to use the ball is just as a full rotational tool. It is more useful if you actually use it as an attack way, as like hitting someone or knowing you can break into something with that. But sometimes you also just need the ball to rotate if you're in a bad spot, or like you need to quickly get out of something because you see multiple
Assassinated.
teams approaching a certain point. So you just need to get out, right?
Yeah, people critically underutilize her ball as a we need to get out of here tool. I see a lot of people strictly using it for an offensive one, which I don't think that it should be limited to just being an offensive ability. I think that it definitely
play this up?
shines as a rotational slash, I don't want to say defensive, but I guess you could say defensive because you are kind of using it to defend your ability to survive the match. But I feel like it's definitely overused in the term of it being just an offensive ability and not an escape tool.
Oh yeah. The reason why it has so many uses is that it leaves those pellets, right? The ball itself sometimes can do whatever it wants. Like, it has a mind of its own. I swear to God, sometimes
It does.
that ball has given me some very brain damage.
The way it decides to bounce around sometimes, it leaves me baffled. I'll be over here trying to calculate geometry. I'll be like, all right, I'm going to throw it there. It's going to bounce that way, bounce off that corner, then hit this guy behind this cover. And then it hits the corner and just bounces straight back at me. And now I'm stunned, and I'm like, oh, well, that panned out a little differently in my head.
I could hold them here. If I have a really good timing, I can. I don't know what the other squad is, though, sadly.
Choice. Rings near and closing in 10.
I don't have a grenade for this, so this might actually be my... This might either
Yeah,
be hero or
it's very
zero.
rare that someone actually is able to
This might
track
either
me
be
out of
really
a
good or really
Maggie
bad.
stun. I've had it happen a few
I'm unsure.
times, but I mean, I feel like as a Maggie
Okay,
player
it's
yourself,
gonna be
you
fine. I'm
kind
gonna
of,
counter to that,
when
and
you
then-
get stunned by a Maggie ball, I feel like you're kind of at an advantage because you're so used to getting stunned by your
Where are people
own
tracking
ball.
now?
You're like, oh, I know how to play against this stun. Because I've gotten so used to the sense slow with it that when I get stunned by a Maggie, it's pretty negligible of his effect on me unless it displaces me from cover, because I'm just so used to getting griefed by my own ball that I know how to kind of fight against the stun a little bit. But obviously that is something that is learned with a lot of time and a lot of balls that are angry with you.
True. But here comes the fun thing now. The ball can actually be used a third way. I just thought about it. I've used this before, but this is
that's a
insanely
fucking
hard to
20!
pull off. And that is as movement.
Let's go.
If you know where your enemy is and you're close enough to them, there's a explosion radius where you go. If you're the closest to the ball, you go closer to
Fucking
straight
go,
up. If you're the
dude.
furthest from the ball, you fly almost diagonally to the sides. And if you know where to be when the ball explodes, you can use it to jump over things. I've done that before, and I've hit the sickest wingman clip. I don't have it right now, sadly. I don't know where it is. But if you explode, you can almost slide jump into it
Shout out,
to
told you,
get
big
like
brain
an
there, right there.
exaggerated movement.
I knew what to do.
Not many people do this. Because it's a very double-edged
It's there,
sword,
up there,
but it's so
GG's,
cool.
by the way.
It's something that I kind of want to get
don't
into
think I
learning
can
a
do
little
anything
bit
then.
more is how to leverage her explosions. Essentially, with Apex and the ball, it's just a extra push force.
Oh, is
essentially.
this
So
what I think it is?
you're just
Is this
getting
what I think it
kind
is?
of a nade boost from
No.
it, and I feel like learning how to
bro.
use that is something that will separate a lot of players from just being an average Maggie
I don't like
player.
you no
You can
more.
tap strafe the
I don't
explosion
like
of
any
that.
this
Yeah,
style.
it's similar to how Fuse's ultimate works as well. There's a push down force on the edge of the ring. If you jump at
Wait, is that-
the
that-
time
oh
where the
my
push force
God,
hits you, you
holy
can
shit.
jump and tap strafe it
Yo,
as well.
what?
Really difficult to pull off as well. But
Yo,
that's just like
hold
another
up a minute.
aspect of an explosion-based ability that you can use to leverage movement. It's just incredibly difficult to get into the rhythm of doing.
That's a head glitch and a
and,
half. I can definitely shoot
you know,
that.
kind of
I
how
want
to
to
use
fight
it
that, but I
effectively in
can't.
game as well. Do you
I
have
don't think
any
it's physically possible for me
niche
to really
tips
fight
and
that
tricks that you would like to share that we haven't gone over yet?
That we haven't gone
trying to
over,
farm
I
some
would
damage,
say
but I have
a funny
dog
little trick with a
awful
trident.
skeleton zone
Any
here.
map that has a trident, you can place the drill at the... If
Like,
you go behind the
all
car
of
and you
this is
place
really
it at the
bad
back
too,
of it,
but this might actually be
so it
better
goes all the
over
way
there.
through, you have a fire car. Like, it has a flamethrower in the front.
That could be used for some funny clips. Have to test that to see if it still works because I know
Yeah,
that
this is a
they
little bit
did
better than the
mess
other
with
one I had, but I can still get naded
legend
out easily.
abilities and interactions with tridents, but that does still function. That
Can't really
would
go up
be
here, that's the thing.
pretty silly.
It works the same way for other people, though. If there's an enemy team in the trident, you can try to hit your drill at the trident itself. If you do hit it, it's gonna burn it the whole time.
Oh, that's just
Yeah, chat. This
that's a lot of damage right there. It's gonna
Oh,
force
yeah?
them to get out of the trident unless they choose to be a little psychotic and tank that. But yeah, if you don't have anything else to add, I think that we can go ahead and wrap it up there. Is that all your thoughts on Maggie and her versatile kit?
I would say one last thing for all the Maggie players out there. Don't underestimate your own movement during Maggie Ultimate. Because if you slide on accident, you might overslide way too far, but movement is very important to use Maggie consistently and consistently well, especially. But other than that, have fun. Maggie is basically a sandbox legend. The world is... You can do whatever you want in Apex. She is the most free legend there is.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that she is probably one of the most fun pure fighting legends in the game, and I feel like more people need to give her a try and just kind of understand just how fun she is. But on that note, I appreciate you for sitting down with me and talking about Maggie,
Holy.
fun and enjoyable she can be. Yeah, I appreciate your time, and
No worries, I had fun. I love
for us,
Maggie.
guy.
She's the most fun character in the game to me.
is my favorite character to play as well. So, yeah, thank you for joining me, and hopefully we might be able to cook up some more Maggie guides in the future.
I'd be glad to help.
Catch you later then. See ya.
See ya.